Hello, everyone. Draft will be starting up here. Notorious Thieving Raccoons versus Mapogo Coalition. Hope I said that right. With the bans coming out pretty quickly here. Got Darius, first ban, followed by Talon, retaliated Alistar, then to Sivir with the Unara, and finally, final ban for the first wave will be Hovering Jarvan, and he's out. Okay, first pick, Malphite. That is a very strong ego stance. As anyone that may have been watching yesterday may recall, there was another Malphite pick with Sylas left open. I expect to see Sylas picked into him because it is a very strong pick, giving a lot of power to the Sylas. And picked he was. Now, Sylas is a very flexible champion. Can play base. I know you're messing with me. Sylas can play basically any role except for AD carry for the most part. So it's kind of it's kind of a given that he is picked at this point. Gives a lot of options, doesn't really close anything out. And the Nico follow-up pick, could see her in support usually. Also, see play mid and possibly jungle. Well, yeah, she can jungle. It's pretty strong. And then the B2 and B3 picks going to Xin Zhao and Lulu. Lots of knockups from these raccoons. And final pick for Mapogo goes to Pantheon. I would assume that would be a Pantheon jungle at this point, leaving the Sylas likely to either mid or top. Also expect Xin Zhao to be the jungler for Raccoons. I'm not sure whether we see Xin Zhao's laning much at the present moment. Alright, wave 2 of bans comes out. Galio followed by Nivea, then Jinx and Yone locks pretty quickly. Alright, Galio being taken out does knock out a lot of the entry opportunity that Malphite would possibly provide. Like the chain knockup potential with Malphite, Galio, Lulu, and Xin Zhao. Like you'd basically be able to kill a team with pure CC alone with just that. Alright, and first pick of the second set going to Caitlyn. Ample range will provide avenue to stay safe from those Malphite ulties, gives a bit more of an opportunity to actually react. Raccoons are hovering Twitch for the second pick. Is a very kind of brutal marksman in the bot lane, does make it difficult to leave your carry alone. As his ambushes attack speed steroid compounded with those poison procs from his W and passive managed to do a lot of harm, even if your opposing marksman can kind of outdamage you. The sudden surprise and reaction time of your target Generally need to kind of be on point to react successfully. And Caitlyn does have the early game range, does have the headshot power. Uh, so it if Raccoons can't get themselves a solid lead early on, it might be a bit difficult for Twitch to do much, as he is an incredibly squishy marksman. Coalition locking in Dr. Mundo, very tanky team. Nico there for that AoE counter engage or straight up engage. Silas has a lot of pretty solid ultimate opportunities. There's the Malphite, Lulu, and Akali. I don't think you would see him steal a Twitch ultimate, however. Silas mid, Pantheon jungle, and Mundo top, it was said. As the drafting is finished, the actual selection should be starting up here soon. Uh, please don't mind the title of this stream, by the way, as I do not have the ability to adjust that. Alright, so team evaluation time. Twitch is a nightmare, but I feel that he is one of the pseudo hyper carry marksmen that does have trouble into Mundo. However, if he goes AP, it might not be as bad. I want to say that AP Twitch has an easier time melting tanks than AD does, or crit AD does. Uh, while Caitlyn has Xin Zhao to kind of be afraid of. He's not the easiest target for her to deal with. The timings of some of his spell casts and the prep time that he utilizes, compounded with, Lulu's ultimate, can be devastating for her attempts to escape. And there is plenty of avenue for Raccoons to kind of guarantee a kill on most of the engagements they have with the setup they've got. In terms of the top lane matchups that we may be seeing, I do suspect it's going to be a Malphite and a Mundo, which I don't think will be all that great for the Malphite. Because the power of the cleaver. But, so long as he stands inside minions, it probably won't be all that bad. Probably, because, Mundo can do that Scion thing and his 80 steroids, and once Malphite's shield is gone, he's actually kind of squishy. So those sustained engagements with the Mundo may be not all that great for him in the long run, and when his ultimate's ready, it's not impactful at all on Mundo. I want to say that Mundo pick is probably absolutely horrible for him if the Silas wasn't bad enough already. Could be wrong, but, we'll see. Pantheon will give a lot of map presence anywhere Twitch pops up, liable to see him drop down. The Lulu is kind of there to get a bit of padding on that reaction movements, but Twitch is a pretty squishy champion, and Pantheon does a lot of hurt, so I'm not actually sure if the Lulu ultimate would really be enough to let him survive. You might have to sit back and rely on long-range meltdowns before moving in aggressively. Time will tell. Nico existing does kind of shift a lot of the carefulness of the match towards acknowledging that she exists, because any minion could be a Nico. Any jungle camp could be a Nico. However, if she does turn into a jungle camp and the enemy jungler is prone to smiting every jungler camp right off the bat, could be death for her. We'll see. Right. And this first game of the day should set the outlook for the following matches. Got 40 seconds to go. Well, I'm not thinking so much the true damage, but like Leandri's health burn available, as well as let's see. Uh, so Raccoons has Xin Zhao, or I guess it's hard to say because you know Xin Zhao exists, Akali exists. That's high physical damage, high magical damage skews. Malphite is there, but I wouldn't really attribute his damage into the equation all that much. Lulu provides on hit, so you could probably assume that Twitch would be going an on hit or a crit build, probably more so on hit, maybe hybrid kind of thing. But yeah, I just feel that depending on how itemization can end up, it could make an AP build possibly a bit better, but I guess then again, Leandri's likely doesn't proc on Twitch's poison anyways, so... Or at least not his passive poison. It would on his W, but that wouldn't really be enough by itself. Would give him some damage amplification, but that's not really what the goal for it would be anyways. Already seeing some fighting. That ward does not have vision of the raptors themselves. Ooh, cooldowns. Let's see. Still no electrocute. And the abduct connects, ignite down, goes for the flash, auto cancelled. Both of them will pop health potions. Doran's shield at the ready for Akali. So she will get a bit more value out of the healing. However, we saw in that first trade between the two, she dropped to around 60% of her health. So any abduct that catches her here should sign her death, especially without flash available. But Xin Zhao's rounding out towards the mid lane. Both champions are level 1. Actually, there's level 2. Ooh! That could have been a deadly retaliation if Silas opted for it, I feel. But he decided not to. Kali was far back enough and not level 2 yet at that time. And a tower shot would have been horrible for Xin Zhao to take. And Pantheon coming over to be a bit ruthless. Was spotted on the ward. Ah! Okay. Abduct catches Akali inside of the shroud, backs off. So electrocute cooldown is worn off. Dash W, auto, electrocute. Bot side, trap out from the Caitlyn. A handful of stacks onto the Nico. Q out from the Caitlyn, misses, barrier comes up, heal comes up. There's an audio glitch on the Nico. That's actually, I think it's around here, inside of the bush. Alright, very difficult situation for Twitch here. One wrong misstep and he could, you know, basically get one-shot headshot from Caitlyn, maybe? Almost. Power shot retaliation.
Now there's a smell you can feel.
I see the Pantheon moving around, but it looks like he's gonna go for Scuttle and give the bot lane some time to push out first. Then coming from the back, Root catches from Nico, jumps in, 2 flashes out, Xin Zhao following up, lands the slow. The Twitch backed off, very low health. Pantheon running in, using the move speed steroid from his E. Twitch narrowly avoiding a Caitlyn trap, but it will be landed from the Xin Zhao, who decides to turn, otherwise he will die. Poison from Twitch ticking, not gonna be enough. Gonna aim for a W. And it will be blocked by the shield, but he is marked, allowing Xin Zhao to close the distance for the kill with his E. That will be 2 kills picked up for Penguin. And I missed another mid lane trade. Alright, so that was just a dash, 2 autos, and ignite. Although I guess the explosion on his Q hurt her as well there. And the electrocute. Didn't even need to land the abduct. She was just autoable, which led to her death. Wasn't quick enough to react to it. And there's the Hextech Alternator purchase. Gives him a very strong early game spike with his damage output with, I think it was like a 45-second cooldown. Here comes the ambush, the 50 caliber net misses. But Twitch gets caught inside of the trap, taking several shots from Caitlyn, flashes and still dies. Unfortunate bad cooldown use there. As thus far, Mapogo Coalition has been doing incredible work in the start. Xin Zhao did get those 2 kills, but his opponents are up to 5. And the Caitlyn with kill credit early on. Ooh, Akali, you are treacherous waters here, my friend. But Xin Zhao coming over to provide support. Silas can get out thanks to the recast of the Akali ultimate, but decides to come back in for the abduct, gets knocked up, but does not care. Akali Ignite will finish him off, however. That is a 1-for-1, plus an assist. Offite recalling does have teleport available, it decides not to as the wave will be pushing in. Mundo taking this time. Got himself, and the first Drake is secured. That will be an Ocean. Malphite shield blocking the Mundo from stopping his recall. I don't want this stuff again. Just kinda sucks when there's 2 fights going on, so the directed cam goes back and forth over and over. Silas is missing, so Twitch backed off. Malphite still has health. I feel like Mundo could possibly look for a dive though, honestly. Although Malphite ultimate is up as well, so. Yeah, he has more than enough mana for it. I think that's a support ping from the Malphite. I think he believes... Ooh, yeah. He's basically one-shot. Time for the rundown. Flash forced. Here comes Xin Zhao to provide support. Slow... I'm not sure if it landed, actually, but Mundo coming right over to bonk him for the kill. Grabs his... Is it a flask or a cask? I forget. But he will force Xin Zhao off. He is not carrying right now, even with his ultimate down. As Twitch once again running dangerously low. No ultimate ready for Caitlyn yet. Let's see just how long. Looks like maybe a wave. And Lulu's not nearly level 6 yet. If Caitlyn wanted to, she could actually apply a lot of pressure here. If they both got low enough, should be able to pressure kill threat as soon as they hit level 6. Like 1 or 2 more shots, including a headshot onto the Lulu, should have been enough to knock her down. Mundo with the double giant belt purchase. Malphite spot clears day as the abduct catches Akali from Silas once again. Flashes out, does survive this time around. And this Silas has just been working mad. And Twitch is not in a very healthy spot. Here comes the Nico ultimate. Knock up secured. Takes a tower shot. Will go down. a very slight bounty for the Twitch, and I think Nico actually got the kill credit for that. And all 3 grubs will be going down to Pantheon. That will be the second neutral objective secured by Mapogo. Malphite opting to go AP. So his mind is not on the Malphite, but it leaves me to wonder who is his mind's not on the Mundo, but it leaves me wondering who is going to be dealing with the Mundo eventually. Because at this rate, Malphite can't fend up to him. Akali's kind of falling behind, and I don't think that with the current gold situation on her end, that Mundo's going to be a particularly tolerable problem.
Here's something that won't wash off.
Another fight mid, Abduct misses. Akali ultimate on cooldown. And Silas overextending a bit. Here's the knock-up from the Xin Zhao. Pantheon coming to support. Not going to get there in time. Flash was used at the very least. And 3rd kill secured for Xin Zhao. And Malphite is starting to get extremely dangerously low once again. Doesn't have teleport available this time to return. And last time he was constantly forced out from his tower. So he just got run down by the Mundo. Xin Zhao missing his W. Out comes the Pantheon ultimate. Lulu forced away. Out comes the Twitch ult, however. Not good target access with Caitlyn being so far behind, but Xin Zhao able to get onto her for the kill. Knock up on Nico. Pantheon jumps onto Xin Zhao for his kill. That is number 3 for Pantheon. And Akali gets under tower. But that Akali move down didn't seem to be able to acquire much. She is bleeding some minions in the mid lane as Silas is widening the gap. Malphite continuing to struggle up here. As Hextech Drake is now being run. Second Drake of the match. And another Malphite death. I see another kill angle here. I do see something going on up top. Xin Zhao going aggressively, but Mundo's passive is still up. We'll pick the flask back, going to gray health. Q landing, waiting for cooldowns, comes back out. Bonk for the kill. Okay, and a head Mundo, not something you want to see. 2.6k gold to spend, Warmog's at the ready. So nothing Malphite is going to be doing is going to do anything at this point. Twitch is falling very far behind. He is equal to Caitlyn on items, but like the pressure she's been putting has been crazy. And with the Storm Razor for her first item, whenever a headshot is primed, that's a lot of extra damage she'll be able to get off on this Twitch. He's not been able to play off those ambush tactics well enough to, like, you know, work towards his fantasy and all that. Right, going in for an ambush. That is Akali on the back end. Ultimate is ready for spray and pray. 2 shots. And there's the headshot for the kill. As Lulu is running dangerously low. Maybe we see a headshot for ultimate here. Bait out the Lulu. Top outer turret already down for the count. Holly and Xin Zhao thinking they could take this fight. Pantheon on the side to interrupt. Silas does steal the Akali ultimate, misses the recast. Nico coming in from the rear will secure the final blow onto Akali as Lulu's taken out by the Silas briefly. And then Pantheon and Silas team up for that final kill. 13 minutes in, 16 kills. Hard to say where Raccoons can go from here. That Mundo, I feel, is in somewhat of an unkillable state for them. Silas, 1,400 gold yet to spend, and Caitlyn's got her BF sword. Everyone is just ahead. Xin Zhao seems to be the only one keeping up for Raccoons. And I think that that is kind of a problem at the moment. Jungle camps are being taken away, so he will be starved. Going to be difficult to actually come back from that. Mundo's level 12. Akali's only 9. And Xin is 7. Or no, Lulu's 7. Okay, Xin is 8. Massive gold advantage, massive XP advantage, and Xin Zhao being chased out yet again. Abduct recast, missing its mark, but the headshot from Caitlyn will provide some assistance. As Caitlyn is 50 caliber netting over the wall. Lulu ultimate comes up, Silas coming over to provide more assistance. Malphite ultimate here. As Pantheon comes and take out the Lulu, and Malphite falls pretty quickly. He is AP, so once he goes in, not really much after that. No survival, no follow-up damage. He is just an ult machine, and no burst past that, considering his opponent was a Dr. Mundo. It did turn out to be quite the pick for him. I don't know what brought upon the first pick Malphite, but you can't first pick a champion that is so easily counter-pickable that early. As Pantheon comes over the wall for the stun, locking the Lulu down for such an extensive period of time. Effectively free kill as he hops out with half his health. All the inner towers are dead. Raccoons sitting with their back against the wall. Will we see them manage to pull through a struggle moment for a comeback? Mundo sensing something arrive. Akali is dangerously low, doesn't get her shroud off before she gets walloped. As Mundo just ults and runs towards the tower, getting those 100 health heal ticks. Break number 3 is spawned. That is Chemtech. Rift Herald is also up for whomever wants to take that. Xin Zhao will get pushed off. Silas has access to Malphite ultimate. And you can see just how devastating that was. Picking up his 4th death. Twitch forced to flash away. Had almost none himself. As this is looking like this base tower is going to fall. With Mapogo's allies coming to rally and continue the siege on this base. First inhibitor down. Second base tower is Pantheon's going for the bot lane. Does have Grand Skyfall available, so it's not even really a 5v5. But Malphite ultimate comes out, does hit the Nico. Counteracts with her own ultimate. Zanya's pop. Xin Zhao, Malphite dead. Lulu and Twitch as well. Last to go will be Akali. All for Silas, and that is the end of game 1. Just shy of 18 minutes with 28 kills. Not quite sure what to say about that game 1, frankly, other than please don't first pick Malphite. And if you do, take out every single problem you can with your bans, but I don't think it's worth it. Alright, and second game draft is already underway. As we see Raccoons sticking to blue side for game 2. Got the Sejuani first pick this time around, notably safer. Coalition opting for the Callista and Renata bot lane. I love Renata, great champion. Callista is a fun marksman to see. And the two together are devastating with the auto passive damage bonus that Renata has combined with Callista's. Her ability that whoever she bonds with, whenever each of them attack the same target, the mark triggers for a bunch of percentage health bonus damage. The two together, like at early ranks, is still like about 3% magic damage per hit, but you know, Renata can keep applying. And hers is split between her own hit and then her allies' hits. Just keeps going back and forth, back and forth. As Raccoons answers with the Nami Lucian. However, I do feel that the Callista and Renata is a lot more aggressive if they play it right. Renata's W especially works heavily in their favor. All you gotta do is make sure you have the will to continue fighting. And assuming Renata runs Exhaust maybe, can put a heavy damper on the burst damage Lucian would hope to put out. As the next wave of bans comes out, first ban waves all seem to be the same with the Alistar, Yunara, Darius, Talon, Sivir, Jarvan. Coalition opting for the Galio once again, and Scion, with the Raccoons going for Orianna and Rise. Can we possibly see a... Like, I want to assume that Raccoons is probably going for an Ahri pick, but... So I don't expect to see like Yasuo or Yone because I don't think they would ban Orianna for that. Ahri is somewhat of a losing lane into Orianna, and late game Orianna does have more presence. Maybe we see like maybe a Victor? I don't know. I'm very bad at drafting. That's why I never try and make these predictions. The Anivia hover. Into Aurora. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that because Aurora does have her dash, which should go over Anivia's wall. Plus the invisibility lets her kind of get the ambush, you know, like Twitch was doing previously. Singed initial hover. Okay, you got Tom Kench. So this match, Raccoon's damage is... or their late game damage is very highly reliant on Anivia, and it depends on how well Lucian performed in the early. Pled hover is interesting. There is the Tom Kench to save Lucian in case he does get hard targeted. I am really liking a lot of the picks from Coalition's side, though. Although not much bulk. A lot of do or die, especially with the Renata providing a lot of buffer here. Renata's very heavy anti... not necessarily anti-engage, but like if you're trying to make choice picks or things of the sort, Renata can be used exceptionally well, especially if she's the bait, to counter the movements with her ultimate. And whoever does get targeted could possibly get out thanks to her W as well. We'll try and judge the matchups here. Once again, based off of, I'll try and ignore the results of the previous match because the Malphite pick scuffed it. There were other issues, but that was a very big contributing factor. So the top lane, Fiora into Tom Kench. Uh, I feel that the longer the game goes on, the better it will be for Fiora, of course, as usual, but Devour's Tom Kench is pretty not great to deal with, compounded with the Sejuani available. They will have to be careful on how they use their hard CC, as to not get parried by the Fiora, because she does have the power to turn around stuff pretty easily. Coalition, top and jungler are double AD. Granted, again, Fiora has true damage. So Tom Kench could build armor items, probably see like Heartsteel into like Sunfire and some other stuff. But if he does that, any Aurora roams top could be pretty bad for him. And since it is Aurora into Anivia, Anivia needs to be able to command pressure over the mid lane and not allow Aurora to take easy steps into the sides. Otherwise, I feel like it's going to fall apart quite a bit. So that means that Anivia can't be taking reckless trades early on. They've got to hope for advantages, hope that Sejuani is able to come over whenever, or even has a thought of going invisible. Because the instant that Aura's invis is on cooldown, she is exceptionally vulnerable. And if you can take her out in that and get Anivia a solid lead, she can be a really nasty bully. All she really needs is to land her Q and her E, and you've basically lost half your health. As a mage in the early game, that's pretty solid to do. The bot lane, again, if Renata or Callista take Exhaust, which honestly, this is actually a really solid game for Exhaust to be taken, because, you have your Lucian, you have your Tahm Kench, they will both be issues. A lot of bursty potential you're going to be dealing with. Very heavy snowball potential on their end. And Callista scales exceptionally well, much better than Lucian's able to, which is why there's a lot of emphasis for him being able to scale. Or him being able to successfully win out the early game. It's always so important for Lucian to win out there early, because if he can't, he's just going to struggle until he gets a foothold. There are a lot of squishy targets on the opposing teams, so it's not going to be too horrible, but, with a Fiora, with a Viego, you're really going to have to be on your toes to, like, play well from all this. And we are loading in for this game 2. Reminder that game 1 went to Mapogo. Pretty commanding victory. Alright, Anivia's going teleport, so we can expect possibly more passive play. The electrocute on the Aurora. Viego opting for Conquer. I assume it's because the Tahm Kench Sejuani is where he expects to be spending most of his time fighting. And actually, something I haven't really thought about. Assuming Viego has like Conquer or something, and he possesses someone, will the Conquer stay active, or would it take use of that someone runes instead? Would you gain any of the benefits from the Conquer? Because I've never used him, and I actually don't recall if I've ever actually seen him utilize Conquer. I think it's normally been like Lethal Tempo or PTA. I could be misremembering though. Lethal Tempo on Callista though. Renata opted for heal instead, which I'm not quite so sure about. I I don't think it's a bad decision though per se. Nami also went for heal. Since Callista does do better in extended fights than Lucian does, because there is no ignite. Also, barrier. Oh no, I got forced out. Reconnecting. It said unable to download spectator data. I've never seen that error before. But yeah, I think that the barrier from Lucian actually could be a really big mistake for him. Because Callista does not really care about the barrier. Because she could just hold on to Rend until you know, it wears off, and the range for the Rend is pretty long. Unless there's something hard pressuring. Huh. Some of them had issues too. Cool, cool.
Minions have spawned.
Sejuani going aggressive. Everyone's going very aggressive. Ooh, this might be... Woo. Yeah, that damage. However, Rend is on cooldown right now. I think it might have been a bit early. Did get those extra 3 hits. I think it was probably one more hit than would have been landed otherwise. If the Rend was held on to. But overall, like, yeah, you can already see that health bar difference. Level 1, but, you know. I love the aggression. You want to play so aggressively with Renata. And yeah, there's those early game trades that you do not want to take into this Aurora. Because Anivia, you need a stable lane. Your egg is already almost progged. Procced. When I say prog, it's not progress. And Tom Kench looking like he might go down, almost. Healing from his potion and Doran shield together seemed to be enough to let him survive. Teleport gonna be coming out already. Alright, stun landed on the aura, but her E knocked her back just enough. Got the question mark ping reaction time there. Another Rend. Reminder that, you know, when you are going against or using Callista, and you're going for a trade, it's always generally valuable to you to have Rend stacks on a minion that's about to die whenever you do go for those trades, so you can effectively get a free Rend on your opponent. Aurora doing what she can. Viego coming over. Aurora flashing away from the stun. Viego coming in with possession. Charges to the Anivia. Will explode the egg. I will take a peek at what happened on the top side. What led to that kill. Alright, Q from Tom Kench. A lot of hits from Q. Decides to go in. Just gets whacked into the weak point by the Fiora for the kill. Not sure I agree with that decision to go in there. Especially with your exposed vital on the side that Aurora is standing on. Beautiful Q into the Rend. Oh yeah, another thing with the Rend on Callista. If you throw your Q and then Rend while the Q is in midair, if that Q kills a target with Rend stacks, the Rend will reset, even if the target didn't die when the Rend stacks were triggered. If the Q that is in flight kills that target, it will give you that refund reset. Knock-up attempt from the Tom Kench, but Fiora's parry is at the ready. Honestly, looking like he might die here from this. Used his Q, but it won't get the stun as the final vital is struck. Here's an aggression play once again. Alright, W is ready. Here comes the gray health. Q, Rend, not gonna be enough. Kill goes to Nami, however. Alright, Aurora moving forward for the trade onto the Anivia, knocking her below half health as expected. And yeah, as you can see, it is very difficult for Anivia to continue stepping up here. And Aurora looking like she might lean over towards the bot, maybe. Lucian and Nami are pushed up. However, the river is warded somewhat, so. Alright, Zerg Greaves confirmed. Tier 2 boots are very important for Kalista. It does. Another trade up the top side. Will Q away from the knock-up for kill number 3 for Fiora. That was a valiant effort from the Tahm Kench, but the stun ran out too soon for him. Aurora ultimate coming out, lands the Q, and the recall will secure the kill. Nami's in a dangerous spot. Alright, Renata's W should be charged, but Sejuani coming in from the side. Renata will flash over. W applied, will not secure the kill, however. Nice attempt. You do want those aggressive plays. Renata stepping up. 200 health. What's that? You got your W up in a bit. Alright, so kill number 2 onto Sejuani. Oh my god. I look away from top, and there is a death. Alright, Fiora ultimate proc, the healing coming in, not going to allow Tahm Kench to get any killing progress. Here comes the knock up again, but Fiora will flash for the vital. Kill number 4. That is a 1,700 gold difference 6 minutes in. Bot lane 400 advantage for Kalista. Junglers relatively even. First dragon will go to Mapogo. I forgot the timers. I think I forgot the timers in game 1 too. Mid lane, Aurora's got a substantial lead as well. Hextech alternator in hand. Oh my god, why? I'm just gonna leave direct cam. I'm missing everything. Alright, Q attempt missed. Here's the W. Invis into the Q, lands, recall, electrocute for the kill. Tahm Kench is struggling so badly. Only 18 CS thus far and a 2-level deficit. Doesn't even have Devour ready at this point. 2-level deficit in the mid lane as well. Very nice Q recast. Out comes the Renata W. Just out of range, Lucian was... Oh! She got the reset. She got the reset. Lucian thought he was safe. Walked up and died to the stacks regardless. Sejuani getting apprehended by Aurora. Anivia may be pushing too far forward. Viego coming up onto the Tahm Kench. This should be a kill for him. Alright, Q from Tahm Kench, Phantom Mode Viego. Lands, but Sejuani cannot be slowed. Can get dropped to half health, however. Kalista running quite low herself. Lucian has Sheen available. Alright, here's the aggression. Kalista avoiding the Q from Lucian. Here comes the Ren. Does not manage to get the kill. With Kalista dead, Renata's damage potential is reduced. Because unless there's an ally to proc the passive, she doesn't get the bonus damage from multiple autos on the same target. Second neutral objective, once again going to Mapogo. Or wait a second. Ballista was level 6! Or wait, did she maybe get the level 6 from... Nope, she was level 6. Wait, she is bound to Renata, right? Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that Lucian ultimate is devastating for her. The Caulfield's Warhammer and Sheen together, she is still squishy despite how strong she could be. First item, not all that close. We'll be going for a recall as Renata, hunted down in the jungle, pulled away for her safety. Does manage to deny the death of her support. As Anivia continuing to struggle, as is Tom Kench. 92 to 21. Aurora ultimate used in mid, mana quite low. I think enough for like, what, one more ability here. Ooh, Nami ultimate coming in, Lucian dead however. Hold on, let me see it from the start. This directed cam is doing worse than I am. Alright, so Viego's sitting in Viz bot lane. Goes for a heavily aggressive play. Does get the Phantom from Lucian. Ballista slow from the Ren. Viego coming in for this follow-ups. Taking out the Nami. Oh my god. What did I just say? I'm missing everything. Okay, Aurora. Ego recalling here. Walking up. Q comes out. W recall. Another dead bird. I have a feeling that something might happen here, and it might not be good. Knock-up attempt once again, lands the stun onto the Tom Kench, who will try and escape. Flash is not yet ready, but the kill is finally secured! As we look to the bot lane, looks like there was an attempt to prevent movement to the tower. Let's see it from the start. Might as well. Alright, so yeah, going for the tower. They got some plates. Lucian extending a bit. Doesn't have empowerment from Nami, so his damage is a bit gimped. Barrier from the Callista will block a few shots. W no longer ready. Nice ultimate from Renata. It catches everything. And yeah, Callista goes down as well. But to the Nami once more. Bork ready, Essence Reaver ready. Viego also coming in from the side, but Nami's under tower. As Aurora flashing in to try and get a kill, will get caught by Nivea's Q. Walled off. E for the kill. As Fiora is looking to take another fish guy. Second Drake, Ocean, going to Mapogo. Next dragon will be Wind. Wind Soul kinda doesn't really do all that much for Callisto, but sure as heck does for the Fiora. And Viego. And Aurora, I guess. Although she'd probably spend half the time disappearing. Lucian jumping forward. That is a very nice trade from Callisto, but I think Lucian probably canceled some auto attacks or something. Something seemed off there. But the Ren's starting to show some damage. And Nivea's still continuing to take trades with the Aurora. bubble hitting the Callista. Lucian trying to go aggressive. Renata ult strikes once again. Out comes Lucian ult. No W prime for her. Aurora rotating to the bot lane. Renata sitting inside of the bush. They finally see the Aurora. Ultimate comes out, does so much damage as two are cleaned up ridiculously quickly. Out comes the Devour from Tahm Kench trying to escape. Honestly, doing quite a bit to him. Doom available, however. Anivia will get stunned. Egg is ready. Q comes out from Aurora, will stop short. Sejuani ultimate coming out as well for the Viego, who will ult out himself. Renata coming over to be a nuisance. Yes. Shoot that boar. Deep vision. Nivea egg proc maybe? Ooh, Lucian caught by the Q and Rend. Egg Nivea proc. Aurora jumping forward. Going to be out of range for any follow-up as we will look at this fight happening down here. I'm surprised there was no tower shot going off. There it is. Alright, 3 members of Raccoon pushed up against this inner bot lane tower. Tahm Kench coming mid. Just for a scenic visit. Anivia going topside instead now. Stun connects. Viego going for the Rift Herald. Has Kraken Slayer. Looks like he hasn't spent anything in a while. Lucian's Cull is almost finished. It'll give him, you know, a few hundred gold. Basically, get somewhat of full purchase cost refunded eventually. Sejuani Q over the wall, doesn't land on anything. Viego running over. A lot of move speed. Lucian going aggressive. Barrier blocks a bit. Callista running low. W active, but she will go down as the Renata ultimate does come out. Hits the Nami and the bird. No Lucian, however. Ice Wall comes up, will block her off. Out comes the Q. Stun connects. Viego jumps in, but he gets interrupted quite a bit. Tahm Kench dies in the top lane. Aurora taking out the bot lane. As Lucian trying to continue this push pressure in the mid. Did get some gold. But Fiora getting a lot. So much. Almost 10,000 gold. Going to have a finished item here. Aurora spotted. Get knocked back. Second hit did not connect, and Lucian just realized what Aurora's been up to. Knock up parried once again! A lot of health to tear through, but it is also kind of a meat bag. Those Qs. Devour not yet ready. Wrong side Fiora. Not really gonna matter, as she will secure the kill.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Out comes the Rift Herald crash, and third dragon down for red team. Callista pulling Renata out once again as she was having trouble escaping. You're looking to take out this base turret. Anivia stopped once again by the riposte. Riposte once more. Deciding to ult the Lucian, who almost gets the kill on her. He was a bit afraid, flashed over the wall, wasn't able to get the final blow, went to Tahm Kench instead. Bit unfortunate in that. But he does have Essence Reaver and Navori, so he can get some power scaling going. Just needs one more damage item. He's kind of set. But that Aurora can kind of knock out more than half his health with a single button press. That is not particularly difficult to miss. So the state is very difficult for Raccoon. Baron coming up in 1 minute. I'm not sure how I feel about Malignance on Anivia. She doesn't need the cooldown reduction, that's for sure. Anivia wall blocking off. Lucian trapped between 3 people. Nearly kills Viego, but Renata's there to defy his death. Alright, Fior continuing to take that top lane tower. Absolute monster. Mid lane is pushing in. Aurora nearly taking out the Anivia once again. Viego getting quite low herself. Second base tower down, and some fighting going on. Callista aiming for the inhibitor rather than some champions. Tahm Kench going in, getting a lot of needles stuck into him. Ren should be able to take him out shortly, but he gets out of range. Nice Renata ult, hits 3. Nivea procced, however, inhibitor down. Got some rotating to take that bottom turret out now. Tahm Kench recall. And this will be the 3rd inhibitor down. Are they going to take this moment to reset, opt for a Baron angle and end? Or fight to the death here? Is Tahm going low? Viego gets a reset. Going heavy onto the Nami, takes her out, but he will die. And that should be the end of game 2 for Mapogo. Anivia comes over, tries to do something. Q goes past the Fiora because she doesn't want the riposte to stun her. Connects this time, but nothing will happen from it. As game 2 is done in 21. Alright, so unfortunately, the Anivia was having some struggling issues into the Aurora. The burst damage with the Electrocute was just too much for casual trading to occur. Lucian did a fair job, though, in the bot lane, you know, despite being 2 and 9. Like, his engagements and stuff with the Callista didn't really go all that poorly. Sejuani did alright in game 1 and game 2. Can't really comment too much on the performance overall. But, again, I think there was a bit of struggling in the top side. Tahm Kench into Fiora, like, it does feel that if Tahm Kench just waits it out a bit, he can get an upper hand on Fiora. Like, eventually she just had so much of a level lead that it just became very difficult for him. But you saw that he was still able to actually provide damage output. It's just, you know, the health differential and the damage output skewing was just too far out of his range. Like, you know, one ally there and Fiora started struggling, but fortunately, one after the other, his lives went to her pocket, and He became quite an unhandleable monster. Uh, I liked the aggression from the Callista and Renata. There weren't really moments when Renata put her W onto an ally and they ran away. You must have that trust that W will trigger on you. The decision making on applying that W can be difficult as well. You know, it is an attack speed steroid, so the longer you have it active, it is good. But if you can pressure your enemy to kill you at that very last second to squeeze out even more juice from it, all the better and delicious when you can turn stuff around. Uh, those were some really good ultimates from the Renata as well. Usually hitting around 3 targets. However, Lucian being the best option for you to hit does mean that even though those ultimates did hit many, the value from it wasn't particularly great, and since, rank 1 and 2 taunts on it are kind of laughable in their duration, unfortunately. And I feel like the minion AI is buggy with alt hitting them as well. I feel like sometimes they don't actually hit their allied champions that are near. But all in all, that was kind of a one-sided series. Think that there is a lot of drawing board work that needs to be done for Raccoon after that match. Especially that game one. The game two draft wasn't particularly bad. I think it was just probably not being aware of the matchups in particular, as well as just overall champion piloting improvement that could be done. But yeah, it was a really strong showing from Mapogo, and congrats on your 2-0 victory for the day. And with that, we'll be calling it. Thanks everyone for stopping by to check out these matches. Hope you have a good remainder of your day. Bye! Or wait, why did I go to the stream starting thing there? That was dumb. Bye!